Bitcoin is in for the run of a lifetime. After a cold, bloody crypto winter, Bitcoin is finally waking up from its multi-year hibernation. Technical indicators are showing that Bitcoin is waking up from its slumber, and the 7% move it's had today will just be a blip in the grand scheme of the market cycle. What's going on, Satoshi Warriors, and welcome back to Seamus's Crypto Lounge. Setups on the 2-day timeframes are flashing bullish, and higher timeframes are brewing for a massive move by Bitcoin. We have a lot to cover, so with that being said, let's jump into the video. So jumping right in, we're taking a look at the 2-day time frame, and this is a volatility versus stochastic momentum setup. In one of my previous videos, I covered the setup for these moves. So if you haven't checked that out in the eye in the sky. But before we get into it, I'll quickly explain what these two indicators are. The first indicator is the BBWP volatility indicator, and this is a direction neutral volatility indicator. And this shows when the asset is going to be having a big move. These expansive moves are indicated by this rainbow indicator going down below 10 percentile and basing out and then expanding up. And you also want to see the white moving average also having an upward slope. As I stated before, the BBWP indicator is direction neutral, and that's where the reverse stochastic momentum indicator comes in. This indicator shows the direction of those moves that are occurring, and it shows the direction of the momentum that the asset has. This indicator also has pivot points that show where Bitcoin needs to close for the momentum to either change directions or to continue in the direction that it's on. As you can see right here, if Bitcoin closes above 26,200, then the momentum will continue rising to the upside. Now that I've covered what these two indicators are, let's try to understand what we're looking at here. So as you can see, the BBWP volatility indicator is angled to the upside, and so is the moving average, and the RSMI indicator shows that Bitcoin will continue rising above 26,200. So as the BBWP does expand and Bitcoin continues to close above that pivot point, we should see the Bitcoin price continue to increase. Now let's go into how big I think this move could be and how long it'll take. Here are some price statistics that I've gathered based on the previous BBWP versus reverse stochastic momentum setups on the 2-day time frame in Bitcoin's history. In these statistics, I have the percentage move, days taken, and congruence with RSMI. The average percentage move is 28% with a standard deviation of 9%, and the average amount of days these moves take is about 18 days with a standard deviation of 6 days. The hit rate for one of these setups is 89%, which means that 89% of the time, the Bitcoin price move agrees with the direction of the RSMI indicator. To give us an idea of the range of the size and the amount of time that these moves take, it's good to take the first standard deviation and add it and subtract it to the average percentage move and days taken. So the lower bound of what is reasonable for this move is about 18%, with the upper bound being 37%, and that average being right at 28%. In terms of the amount of time these moves take, it takes about 12 days on the low end and 24 days on the upper end, with 18 days being the average. Now let's take a look at those percentage moves and add them on top of the Bitcoin price to see what areas we should be looking out for. The first standard deviation is at about 18%, and that would put Bitcoin at about 31,200. And if it were to go all the way to 28%, right at that average move, that would put Bitcoin all the way at 33,800. The average amount of time that this move could take is about 18 days from where the signal fired off at, and that would bring us to July 6th. Next, let's look at some higher term timeframes and why they're bullish for Bitcoin, and then I'll give you guys my outlook for the Bitcoin price for the coming future. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video. If you guys are finding this content useful or like drinking Nuka-Cola, don't forget to drop a like on this video. It's a free way you guys can help support this channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe to join the Satoshi Army. Let's get back to the video. Jumping back into the charts here, now we're looking at the 5-day time frame, and you may notice that the same BBWP versus stochastic momentum setup is brewing. The BBWP volatility indicator is on the floor and is getting ready to expand up, which could mean a large move by Bitcoin. You also may notice that the reverse stochastic momentum pivot is at 28,900 bucks, which is right around where the Bitcoin price is. If Bitcoin were to play out that full 2-day time frame move of 18 to 28%, that would bring the Bitcoin price well above the RSMI pivot point. If Bitcoin does get up to those prices, when the 5-day does expand, that means the pressure will be to the upside, and the 2-day and 5-day time frame moves could compound on each other, making for one massive Bitcoin move. The same story is apparent on the weekly time frame, where the BBWP volatility indicator is on the floor getting ready to expand, and that pivot point for the RSMI indicator is around 30,000 bucks. If this 2-day time frame move does play out, then that means both the 5-day and weekly are going to be compounding on each other, leading for this move to be even larger than expected. Next, let's take a look at the dollar index and see how that could affect the Bitcoin price. Now, taking a look at the US dollar index on the weekly time frame, you can see that the dollar has been putting in lower highs for the last 10 months or so. Usually as the dollar decreases in value, Bitcoin's price goes up. This is apparent in multiple places on the US dollar chart, but just to name one, you can see in 2020, the US dollar was decreasing in price, and that was when Bitcoin was going on a huge rally. Conversely, in 2021, the US dollar started to increase in price because of the Fed rate hikes, and the Bitcoin price was plummeting. So it's a good sign to see the US dollar decreasing as we're leading into the Bitcoin halving. So we would expect the Bitcoin price to be increasing as the US dollar starts to decrease in value. While correlating the dollar and Bitcoin is a little bit shaky, it's another thing to look at that may be giving Bitcoin that upside pressure. So in summary, we should see continuation on this Bitcoin move as long as it's closing above 26,200. That's the RSMI pivot point that holds a lot of weight, and as long as we're closing above that, we should be in the green. There are 5-day and weekly setups that are brewing that could compound on the size of this move and could continue this move to the upside much higher than that 28% average move that the 2-day time frame should cover. And finally, seeing the US dollar price decrease in value is good for the overall health of risk on assets. I will be doing another video on the 5-day and weekly time frame setups, but those moves will take a long time to play out because they're on higher term time frames. With that being said, let's jump into my favorite comment from the last video. My favorite comment was from John Magpuli. He said, "Another great video. This is one of my day one subscribers, and I appreciate your support on every one of my videos. Make sure to leave some comments on this video so I can shout you guys out in my next video. With that being said, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to join the Satoshi Army. I'll see you guys in the next one. See you later, Satoshi Warriors."